Staging a complex stunt or a giant set piece is a massive challenge. These achievements are incredible to watch, but learning about what needed to happen behind the scenes only makes us appreciate them more. Here's a look at some iconic movie scenes that were nearly impossible to capture on film. Fast 5. As quick-moving as its title suggests, Fast 5 is at its best during the climactic car chase through the streets of Rio. Protagonists Dom and Brian have to drag a 100-ton bank vault behind them with the police hot on their tail. It's such an enormous set piece that it would be totally understandable to assume it's mostly CGI. Instead, it's nearly all practical effects. Director Justin Lin was adamant about using as little CGI as possible, so stunt coordinator Jack Gill built a replica vault that weighed 10,000 pounds. Although lighter than a real metal vault, it still required souped-up cars with oversized tires and 400 horsepower engines so that they could actually swing around the replica. When you're watching Dom and Brian swing a vault through buildings and cement like a wrecking ball, that's actually happening. Somewhat surprisingly, no one was hurt in the scene's filming. Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. The Mission Impossible franchise has mostly become a series of films where we watch Tom Cruise cheat death over and over.
I'm actually scared of this.
But all other stunts pale in comparison next to the tower climbing sequence in Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. This sequence sees Cruise's Ethan Hunt climbing the exterior of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. Cruise actually fired the film's insurance company so he could perform the climb without a stunt double, with only some rigging between him and the ground. What's more, there was no way to cushion Cruise's landing during the climactic jump back onto the tower. He just went for it, landing full force on the glass. Iron Man 3. Sometimes a well-performed practical effects stunt actually looks like CGI because of how impossible it seems. Case in point, the breathtaking airplane rescue set piece from Iron Man 3.
Remember that game called Barrel of Monkeys? That's what we're gonna do.
18,000 feet.
Come on, people, everybody grab your monkey.
In order to shoot the scene without CGI, the filmmakers began with 2 days of testing at the airport to make sure it could even work. Once they determined it was possible, they proceeded to make the jump multiple times a day, all alongside a cameraman.
8 days to shoot it. We ended up making 62 airplane loads, over 600 parachute jumps, 480-some hidden parachute jumps.
The extra effort of using practical effects resulted in a genuinely thrilling action sequence. Cliffhanger. 1993's Cliffhanger is a perfect example of a dangerous stunt making a movie a classic. One jaw-dropping scene involves a character traveling from one airplane to another via a single cable. The planes had to travel at an exact speed of 150 miles per hour each. If either sped up, stuntman Simon Crane could have been ripped in half.
Any faster, and the force of the wind would likely pull Crane's limbs from his torso.
The altitude and wind created numbing temperatures as well, with Crane having to don a special prosthetic face mask in order to endure the cold. Luckily, Crane managed to perform the stunt almost perfectly, except for some trouble getting pulled into the second plane.
I actually did bounce into the door and bounced out again, and that's when I went above and slid along the roof.
Crane's death-defying stunt is as breathtaking now as it was when the film first came out. Ben-Hur. Shooting a biblical drama in the 1950s offered very little room for cinematic sleight of hand, and 1959's Ben-Hur was no different. The famous chariot race took nearly a year to prepare, with the million-dollar arena set carved out of a quarry by 1,000 workmen, among other intense preparations.
I was about to start shooting on Ben-Hur in Rome. I went over about a month early to learn to drive a 4-horse chariot.
The shoot itself required nearly 100 trained racehorses that actually ended up being faster than the car carrying the camera. This gave the cameraman only a few seconds to get each shot per take, even with a head start. In addition, the heat limited the horses to 8 runs a day, and a stunt gone wrong very nearly resulted in stuntman Joe Canut being trampled by his horses and chariot. Despite everything, the filmmakers and crew managed to pull the whole thing off. For that alone, they deserved all 11 of the Oscars the film received. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is chock full of some of the most memorable imagery in film history. One particularly famous stunt proved more difficult than others: the sequence in which Harrison Ford's stuntman, Terry Leonard, is dragged along a dirt road behind a speeding truck. Despite the fact that Leonard only drifts under the truck for 6 seconds, the stunt was immensely dangerous. Thankfully, Leonard came away unscathed, pulling off one of the greatest stunts of all time.